Every great monument ever built began in silence. Every mountain that towers above the land started as dust. And every man or woman who rises to power, influence, wealth, and mastery begins their journey not with a thunderous parade, but with quiet, steady resolve. The power of silence is the birthplace of all greatness. The world will urge you to shout, to prove, to post, to perform, but those who are destined for lasting impact do not waste their strength on noise. They build themselves quietly. There is immense power in the unseen. A seed does not sprout by declaring itself to the wind. It grows by surrendering to the dirt, pushing through darkness and reaching upward in silence until it bursts into the light. You too must grow this way. The world does not need to know your every move. You do not need to announce your every step. In fact, the more quiet your path, the stronger your foundation becomes. Silence is not weakness. It is not absence. It is not invisibility. Silence is strength under control. It is preparation in motion. It is purpose without distraction. When you build yourself in silence, you become invincible in public. For what the world cannot see, it cannot sabotage. What it cannot hear, it cannot criticize. And what it does not expect, it cannot stop. You are not building for attention. You are building for transformation. There is a difference. Attention fades, applause stops, and praise turns sour. But transformation lasts. And transformation is an inside job. The kind of man or woman who changes their life from the inside out does not need external validation. They are focused, clear, determined. They do not waste time explaining their moves. They make moves that explain themselves in time. Every man who has ever achieved something substantial has first walked through a season of solitude. He embraced the discipline of obscurity. He turned his back on applause and fixed his eyes on vision. He didn't need the world to cheer for him. He cheered for himself. And when his moment came, he stepped out not as a surprise, but as a fulfillment of all that he had become in silence. Do not despise the quiet seasons. Do not grow weary in the shadows. It is in these hidden places that your character is forged. Here is where your vision becomes unshakable. Here is where your habits are formed, your mind is renewed, your spirit is strengthened. Most people want results without process. They want fame without focus. But you must be different. You must hunger not for recognition, but for mastery. When you build yourself quietly, you do not wait for motivation. You build discipline. You do not wait for opportunity. You prepare yourself for it. You do not seek permission. You grant yourself authority. You do not ask who will let me. You ask who can stop me. And in this mindset, you step away from the noise, away from the doubt, away from the spotlight, and you build. You build by waking up earlier than others are willing to. You build by reading while others scroll. You build by investing when others spend. You build by training when others sleep. You build by sacrificing what is easy so you can have what is worth it. You build by doing the work again and again, especially when no one is watching. That is how success is born. The world will tempt you to share every step, to announce every plan, to prove your progress. But silence is a greater ally than applause. Applause will mislead you. It will feed your ego and starve your discipline. But silence will sharpen you. It will demand consistency. It will test your motives, and it will produce greatness if you do not give up. You must remember your success is your responsibility. No one will do the work for you. No one will sacrifice in your place. No one will care as much as you do. And that's exactly why you must be willing to build when no one else is. The future you desire is waiting, but it will only reveal itself to those who are willing to walk the path with focus, with grit, and with relentless patience. Your silence is not emptiness. It is alignment. Every time you resist the urge to impress, you preserve your energy to improve. Every time you avoid distraction, you gain momentum. Every time you choose to stay consistent, even when unnoticed, you become someone who cannot be shaken by the winds of opinion or the storms of criticism. The man who builds himself quietly does not fear the spotlight when it comes. He is ready for it, because while others were chasing likes, he was becoming someone worth knowing. While others were building personas, he was building substance. While others were pretending to be powerful, He was becoming powerful. You must value process more than praise. Process is what turns ideas into achievement. Process is what separates the dreamers from the doers. Process is what no one sees but everyone envies. And the process is almost always quiet. You wake up, you work, you reflect, you refine, you repeat, over and over, until who you are matches what you've envisioned. You don't have to broadcast your goals. You don't have to announce your next move. You don't have to convince others that you're becoming something great. The time will come when what you've built in silence will speak louder than anything you could have shouted from the rooftops. Your results will testify. Your lifestyle will announce. Your peace will radiate. Your success will shine. Stay consistent, stay silent, stay sharp. The world needs fewer loud talkers and more quiet builders. People who don't just promise, they perform. People who don't just dream, they do. People who don't just impress, they impact. And that begins with a decision to build, not for attention, but for excellence. Do not underestimate the power of quiet consistency. Quiet consistency is the secret ingredient in every legacy. It is the force behind every seemingly overnight success. It is the rhythm of those who do not seek credit but always produce results. You see, the quiet builder doesn't need recognition to keep going. His motivation is rooted in vision, not validation. Her fire is fed by purpose, not popularity. A person who builds in silence is harder to shake. Their roots are deep, grounded, and unshakable because they were not grown for show. They were grown for strength. While the world obsesses over fruit, the wise man works on his roots. And that work is invisible. It's hard, it's lonely, but it is the very reason the tree stands tall when storms arrive. The loud builders fall apart the moment criticism appears. Their confidence was based on applause. But the quiet ones, the ones who prepared, sacrificed, and sharpened their edge in solitude, they are not faced. They have faced the silence, they have faced the doubt, they have faced themselves. And from that place, they have emerged powerful, not because they were praised, but because they were prepared. Silence is your testing ground. In the silence, you'll hear your excuses. You'll feel your weaknesses. You'll confront your distractions. And this is good. This is exactly where transformation begins. For the one who is willing to keep showing up, keep doing the work, and keep growing in the shadows, will one day rise without explanation, without apology, without hesitation. They will rise not because they plan to impress, but because they refuse to quit. The danger in seeking recognition too soon is that it creates pressure without preparation. You must not seek a stage you're not strong enough to stand on. You must not chase status you haven't yet earned. For when the spotlight finds you, it will magnify everything about you, your strengths and your flaws. Better to be ready in silence than to collapse in noise. Every minute you spend developing yourself in quiet is an investment in your future, an investment in your discipline, an investment in the version of yourself that the world has yet to meet. Do not ask if the world is ready for you. Ask instead, are you ready for the world? And the only way to be ready is to do the work, the real work, the hard work. You build by studying what others ignore. You build by learning what others laugh at. You build by mastering what others quit on. You build by becoming what others only pretend to be. This is the advantage of building quietly. You are not distracted by competition because your only competition is your former self. You are not seduced by attention because your fuel is internal. You are not discouraged by delay because your commitment is deeper than your feelings. Each time you rise early while others sleep, you gain ground. Each time you say no to a temporary pleasure in exchange for a long-term gain, you grow. Each time you discipline your emotions, sharpen your focus, and make one more decision in the right direction, you add another brick to the invisible structure of your future. Let others talk. Let them laugh. Let them overlook you. Good. Let them underestimate you. Better. You will not respond with words. You will respond with results. Your discipline will speak. Your mastery will echo. Your lifestyle will be the only announcement you ever need. And when they ask how you did it, you will smile, for the truth is simple. You built in silence. You didn't need applause to get stronger. You didn't need followers to move forward. You didn't need permission to act boldly. You became your own support system. You became your own motivation. You became your own reason to rise, and rise again. And because of that, your success is yours. Not borrowed, not gifted, not inherited, earned. It is easy to be loud. It is easy to seek attention. It is easy to look successful. But looking the part is not living the part. Real success is born in discipline. Real impact comes from integrity. Real strength comes from doing the right thing over and over, especially when nobody sees it, especially when nobody claps, especially when nobody cares. The quiet path is not popular, but it is powerful. It is the path of mastery, the path of maturity, the path of those who understand that the loudest one in the room is rarely the strongest. It is often the silent one, watching, studying, learning, executing, who holds the real power. And when the time comes, that silent one speaks through action, not noise, through excellence, not explanation. The ones who succeed in life are not those who started loud, but those who stayed consistent, the ones who didn't give up when progress was slow, the ones who didn't quit when no one noticed, the ones who worked quietly, learned humbly, practiced daily, and developed themselves into a force the world could not ignore. You must not be afraid of silence. You must embrace it. You must understand that silence is the canvas on which your future is being painted. Every action you take in discipline, every choice you make in private, every hour you spend refining your skills, these things are the brush strokes. And the masterpiece they create is called your life. Others may not see your potential yet. That is not your concern. Your concern is to build, grow, strengthen, and prepare. Let them doubt, let them overlook you. Your silence is your advantage. For when your moment arrives, when the opportunity you've been preparing for meets the preparation you've been making, the world will call you lucky. But luck had nothing to do with it. What they call luck, what they call chance, you call choice. Do not wait to be noticed. Build yourself into someone who cannot be ignored. Do not wait to be chosen. Choose yourself. And keep choosing yourself every day. Keep working, keep refining, keep improving. Not for applause, but for alignment. Not for others, but for excellence. Because that is who you are becoming. You are becoming a person of value, a person of discipline, a person of impact. And none of that requires noise. All of it requires effort. Consistent, focused, deliberate effort. Build quietly, build wisely, build daily, build when it's hard, build when it's lonely, build when you're tired. Build when you feel like quitting, because every moment you build, you become more. And when the time comes, and it will come, the world will see what the silence created. Build so deeply that no storm can uproot you. Build so thoroughly that no failure can fracture you. Build so intentionally that no insult can distract you. The secret is not in the volume of your voice, it's in the value of your habits. While others look for shortcuts, you embrace structure. While others look for hacks, you cultivate habits. And while they seek attention, you seek alignment with a higher purpose. Nothing extraordinary is built on noise. Nothing legendary is constructed through public display. Greatness is forged in obscurity. In the early hours before the world stirs, in the moments when no one claps for you, in the hard decisions that no one understands, you will be tempted to give up. You will be tempted to say, what's the point if no one sees me? But that question only comes from a person who builds for applause. You must build for legacy. You must build for transformation. You must build because you cannot remain the same. The silence tests you because it's supposed to. It exposes your why. If your why is weak, you will quit. But if your why is purpose, you will rise even without a witness. You will push through the resistance. You will crawl if you must, but you will not stop. Because those who are destined to build mountains do not stop when they are small. They keep stacking, they keep climbing, and eventually what once felt insignificant becomes The longer you go unnoticed, the sharper your edge becomes. While others are showing off, you're sharpening. While they are performing, you're perfecting. And this is the power of the quiet builder. By the time the world notices you, it's already too late to stop you. Your habits are solid. Your focus is laser. Your confidence is internal. You become the kind of person whose results speak louder than any introduction ever could. So you train when it's inconvenient. You study when it's uncomfortable. You resist when it's unpopular. You delay gratification when others are indulging. And you do this not because someone is watching, but because you are becoming. Every action you take in silence becomes a declaration of war against your old self. The lazy you, the excuse-making you, the approval-seeking you. That person has no place in the life you are building. And the beautiful thing is this: when you no longer need to be seen, that's when you become undeniable. When you no longer need praise, that's when your presence becomes powerful. When you no longer chase followers, that's when you start leading. Because leadership is not about being loud. It's about being effective, and effectiveness is born in quiet discipline. Remember this truth: noise is easy, discipline is hard. But discipline will build you into someone whose very life becomes an example. And the world does not need more noise, it needs more examples. People who live what they say, people who prove that it's possible, people who don't just post about motivation, but who are motivation because they've done the work in silence. You build in the dark so you can shine in the light, not because you want the spotlight, but because you become light. You walk into rooms and people feel something. You speak and your words carry weight. You act and your decisions produce results, not because you're trying to prove anything, but because you've become someone worth listening to. And you know what the world does to those who build quietly? At first, it ignores them. Then it questions them. Then it envies them. Then it studies them. And finally, it respects them. But you must be strong enough to endure the early stages. You must be mentally armored to withstand being misunderstood. You must trust the process so deeply that silence doesn't scare you anymore. When you truly understand your mission, you stop explaining yourself. You stop seeking approval. You stop entertaining opinions. You become like a lion, calm, quiet, focused, not because you're hiding, but because you're hunting. You're not here to show off your claws. You're here to use them when it's time. And when it's time, you won't need to say a word. Your results will roar. You'll notice something else happen when you build in silence. You become immune to distractions. Gossip doesn't concern you. Critics don't derail you. Social validation doesn't intoxicate you. You have tasted something greater. Progress. You've tasted the thrill of outgrowing your past. You've felt the fire of becoming someone you once dreamed of. And once you've experienced that, nothing else can satisfy. The truth is, most people are loud because they're insecure. They're noisy because they need affirmation. But you are becoming stable, solid, sovereign. You just react. You respond. You just perform. You produce. You don't just exist. You execute. That level of strength cannot be faked. It must be built. And it must be built in silence. Your greatest weapon is not your voice. It is your self-mastery. If you can control your focus, your time, your mind, your energy, there is nothing you cannot achieve. That control is only developed in the quiet hours, the ones no one applauds you for, the ones where it's just you and your decision. The world will not celebrate you for the mornings you woke up and chose growth, but those mornings will make you. Do not confuse activity with progress. Many people are busy, but few are effective. Many people are loud, but few are growing. You must rise above the noise. You must train yourself to be a person of execution, not explanation, a person of action, not argument, a person of depth, not drama. And that begins the moment you decide that the silent path is enough for you. You are not invisible. You are in preparation. You are not behind. You are underground, growing roots. And when the time is right, you will break through. not as someone desperate for attention, but as someone too powerful to ignore. Keep reading, keep learning, keep sharpening, keep refining. Every ounce of energy you invest in your future will return to you multiplied. Every second of focus compounds into something unshakable. The vision you carry inside you is worth the wait. The dream burning in your soul is not random. It is a glimpse of what's possible. But it must be built in silence, built in truth, built in persistence, built in fire. You see, the real builders of destiny aren't loud. They don't announce their moves. They don't need to convince the world of their worth. They don't need permission to rise. Why? Because their belief is internal. Their strength is self-contained. Their progress is not measured by how many people clap, but by how many times they stood back up after falling in silence. The quiet builder is not weak. The quiet builder is dangerous. Not dangerous in the way of destruction, but dangerous in the way of disruption. Dangerous to mediocrity, dangerous to excuses, dangerous to limitation. Because once a human being understands they can build themselves in silence, without applause, without validation, without spotlight, they are free. And a free mind cannot be manipulated. There is something sacred about working when no one is watching. It trains your spirit to depend on discipline, not dopamine. It trains your will to be driven by purpose, not popularity. While others post and pretend, you are producing and progressing. While others perform for attention, you are building foundations so deep, so unshakable, that nothing can break you. Do not underestimate the power of delayed gratification. The seeds you plant in silence will bear fruit in their season. Don't be deceived when it feels like nothing is happening. The roots are going deep. The structure is being laid. The storm is coming, yes, but so is your strength. You're not skipping steps. You're not rushing greatness. You're building what cannot be broken. People may mock you. Let them. People may ignore you. Good. People may count you out. Let them go ahead. You are not here to be counted by man. You are here to count for something. And when your moment arrives, the world will see not a spark but a flame, not a beginner but a master, not a seeker of attention but a source of impact. Let the world sleep on you. Let them underestimate you, because by the time they realize your worth, you will already be operating at a level beyond their imagination. That's what happens when you build in silence. Your work multiplies, your habits stack, your thinking sharpens, and your life transforms, not by force, but by design. Every day you show up when you don't feel like it, you're building. Every time you say no to temptation, you're building. Every hour you spend learning instead of complaining, you're building. And what you are building is not just a life, it's a legacy. A structure that others will one day look at and say, how did they do it? But you will know. You did it one quiet, focused, disciplined moment at a time. You must understand that most people do not fail because of lack of talent. They fail because of noise. They listen to too many voices. They follow too many opinions. They crave too much attention. But when you silence the world, you find your voice. When you mute the distractions, you find your direction. When you build quietly, you become unshakably clear on who you are. You become more than a dreamer. You become a doer. You no longer hope, you act. You no longer wish, you work. You no longer fantasize, you focus. And that shift, that sacred transition from wishful thinking to intentional building is where all transformation begins. Yes, you will be lonely sometimes, but loneliness is not emptiness. It is sacred preparation. It is solitude with purpose. It is the laboratory of the soul. In the silence, your mind becomes clear. In the solitude, your spirit becomes strong. And when you emerge, you won't just be better, you'll be unstoppable. The quiet builder understands something most people never will, that patience is not passive. Patience is aggressive. It is an active war against every distraction, every lie, every impulse. It takes more strength to wait and build than it does to rush and fail. But if you can wait with wisdom, work with focus, and build with purpose, there is nothing that can stop you. Not failure, not criticism, not delays, not doubts, because your foundation is not built on the sand of emotion, it's built on the rock of discipline. And discipline, once installed, becomes your compass. It guides your steps when the path is unclear. It strengthens your spine when pressure comes. It protects your vision when the world tries to blur it. You will walk into your future not because someone opened the door for you, but because you built the door yourself. And that's the power of the quiet builder. They don't wait for opportunities, they prepare for them. They don't chase success, they attract it by becoming valuable in silence. You want freedom? Then build in the dark. Build when no one claps. Build when the room is empty. Build when your hands are tired. Build when your heart is breaking. Build when you are scared. Because every nail you drive in silence becomes a promise to your future self. I will not quit. I will rise. I will become. And in time, when the light finds you, it won't just find a person. It'll find a fortress of strength, a fortress of habits, a fortress of discipline, a life forged in quiet fire, ready for anything. Every empire that has stood the test of time was not built overnight, and certainly not in public. The middle is where most people give up. The middle is where doubt becomes loud, where progress feels slow, and where obscurity weighs heavy. But the middle is where the real builders are separated from the talkers. You are not buried, you are being built. You are not forgotten, you are being formed. And this formation demands silence. This is the part where your patience is tested the most. You've begun the work, you've made sacrifices, you've shown discipline, but the results haven't arrived yet. This is the hallway between who you were and who you're becoming. And in this hallway, there are no claps, no praise, just you, your vision, and your grit. And the question becomes, will you keep walking? Most people turn back here, not because they aren't capable, but because they were expecting applause before achievement. But you must rise above that. You must train your spirit to be stronger than your emotions. You must feed your mind more truth and fear. You must remind yourself daily that silence is not absence, it is alignment. In the middle, distractions scream louder than ever. People who started with you may start taking shortcuts. Some will sell themselves for visibility. Others will trade their vision for validation, but not you. You didn't come this far to conform. You didn't start this journey to be ordinary. You're building not just a life, but a standard. And that standard is forged in fire. Every single morning you choose discipline over ease. You gain a layer of mental armor. Every time you ignore what doesn't matter and pour energy into what does, you sharpen your edge. You are not wasting time in this quiet season. You are multiplying power. You are stacking unseen victories. You are becoming so stable, so fortified, so laser-focused that when opportunity arrives, you won't fumble it. You'll own it. But this doesn't come without pain. There will be days you wonder if it's worth it. Nights you lie awake asking yourself, is anyone even noticing how hard I'm trying? But here's the truth. The most important person noticing is you. You are watching you. You are watching how you respond to adversity. You are watching if you fold or if you fight. You are watching if your word means something to yourself. And that integrity, the ability to show up for yourself when no one else claps, that is the beginning of greatness. You will never outwork someone who is doing it for reasons bigger than applause. You will never stop someone who builds in silence, because their fuel doesn't run out when the crowd disappears. They weren't building for the crowd to begin with. In this middle place, you must take inventory of your habits. Your habits are the bricks of your empire. If you build with laziness, you will collapse in difficulty. If you build with excuses, you will crumble under pressure. But if you build with consistency, with intention, with focus, your foundation will be so deep, so solid, that storms will only polish what you've created. No one will celebrate you for drinking water when you could have chosen alcohol. No one will cheer when you choose the gym over sleeping in. No one will post about the years you spent studying while everyone else was partying. But all of that, the quiet decisions you make every single day, will one day compound into something unstoppable. Let them talk, let them doubt, let them think you're wasting your time. Because while they're scrolling, you're studying. While they're resting, you're rising. While they're laughing at you, you're leveling up. And when the moment comes, you won't just succeed, you'll surprise them all. There is no overnight success. What they call overnight is just the moment the world noticed what you've been building for years in the shadows. They don't see the mornings you got up when no alarm was needed. They don't see the hours you practiced when no one cared. They don't see the sacrifices, the rejections, the pain, the loneliness. But all of it, every second of it, was necessary. Do not shortcut this middle process. The world wants fast success. But fast success is like sugar. It gives a rush and a crash. You are not here to crash. You are here to build something that lasts. And for that, you must embrace the slow grind, the deep work, the relentless consistency, because this is the soil of champions. Speak less, work more. Share less, sacrifice more. Stop explaining and start executing. You owe no one your blueprint. What you owe is your commitment to yourself, to your purpose, to the highest version of you that only you can see. That version doesn't need applause. It needs action. You don't rise by noise. You rise by becoming. Quietly, steadily, relentlessly, you rise by choosing what's hard when what's easy is available. You rise by rejecting comfort in favor of calling. And calling is not always glamorous. It often looks like long nights, early mornings, invisible winds, and lonely climbs. But it is worth it, because what you build in silence will one day speak so loudly, no one will be able to ignore it. This is the stretch that feels the longest. The results aren't visible yet. The applause is still silent. You've been consistent, but the breakthroughs seem delayed. This is where your inner world is either fortified or fractured. Most people quit here, not because they're weak, but because they expected ease. But ease never built anything worth remembering. The unseen effort is the birthplace of the unstoppable person. This stretch is not about being noticed, it's about becoming undeniable. Every repetition, every refusal to quit, every decision to keep going when it would be easier to walk away is chiseling something eternal into your character. It's the furnace where real strength is forged, not in the spotlight, but in the silence. You are learning to be faithful when there is no fanfare. You are learning to be disciplined without a deadline. You are learning to become valuable before you become visible. Because once you are visible, it's too late to prepare. The time for building is now, when no one's watching. Now, when every excuse to quit seems logical, but you ignore them anyway. People who succeed at the highest level are not addicted to recognition. They're addicted to progress. They move without announcement. They create without permission. They grow without audience. And because of that, they become powerful in ways no external force can explain or take away. This journey will often feel thankless. You'll pour effort into days that seem to give nothing back. You'll plant seeds that seem to vanish, but trust the law of the harvest. What you sow in discipline will reap a harvest of strength. What you sow in solitude will bloom in seasons you never expected. Just because it's not blooming yet doesn't mean it's not growing. In these long stretches, everything that is weak in you will try to surface. The part that wants to give up, the part that wants to settle, the part that wants comfort. And every time you say no to those parts, you make the real version of you stronger. Every time you resist the urge to settle, you build another layer of mastery within yourself. Success is not found in a single act. It is buried beneath 1,000 small decisions that no one sees. Waking up early when your body begs for more sleep. Staying focused when distractions claw for your attention. Studying while others are celebrating. Practicing while others are pretending. These are the choices that sculpt champions, one brick at a time. This is the grind that humbles you. It strips away illusion. It shows you what you're really made of. And if you can endure it, not just survive it, but embrace it, then nothing can shake you. Because you didn't get here by luck. You didn't stumble into greatness. You built it with intention, with blood, sweat, and mental steel. People will start asking how you got so good. They want to know the secret. But there is no secret. There was only you, waking up again and again, staying locked in while others drifted, doing the hard things when no one else was watching. You became a fortress, not overnight, but over time, quietly, repeatedly, relentlessly. You must hold the line. Hold it when you're tired. Hold it when you're unsure. Hold it when nothing seems to be working, because that's when the most growth happens, not when things are easy, but when things are heavy and you still carry them. You're becoming someone most people will never become, not because they can't, but because they chose ease over evolution. Stay focused on your values. Focus on what you said you would do. Focus on becoming valuable regardless of who's watching. Remember, lions don't need to roar to prove they are lions. Their presence speaks for itself. You don't need to post your progress. Your results will speak volumes in time. But right now, the focus is not exposure, it is excellence. Your environment may not understand you right now. Your friends may drift. Your family might question your obsession. But keep going. Keep building one quiet decision at a time. Because the version of you you're becoming will thank you. They'll look back at this stretch with gratitude, not because it was easy, but because you didn't give in to temporary relief. When you're building something that matters, comfort becomes your enemy. You begin to crave discipline more than distraction. You begin to find joy not in being seen, but in becoming solid. And slowly your old self starts fading. The one that needed validation, the one that chased approval, the one that crumbled under pressure. That version dies here so the real you can rise. This is where your belief must run deeper than your feelings. There will be days you don't feel inspired, don't feel strong, don't feel motivated. Good. Do it anyway, move anyway, build anyway, because every time you act without feeling, you reinforce your identity as someone who leads themselves. And the person who can lead themselves in private will always rise in public. Your vision is not crazy. Your standards are not too high. Your pace is not too fast. You were just never meant to settle. That's why comfort feels like a cage. You weren't designed to blend in. You were designed to build, boldly, intentionally, even when no one understands. The reward is not just in what you're building externally, but in who you're becoming internally. Strong, stable, disciplined, unshakable. When the noise of life gets loud, your calm mind will become your edge. When others panic, you'll execute. When others fold, you'll endure, because this stretch is preparing you for levels you've never seen, but will be ready to handle when you arrive. There comes a moment when the quiet work you've been doing becomes impossible to ignore. You won't need to announce it. You won't need to explain yourself. The results will speak so clearly they'll echo in rooms you haven't entered yet. The same people who once doubted your path will begin to ask you how you did it. And you'll know the truth. They could have done it too if they had been willing to endure the silence. You will walk into opportunities that feel tailored for you, not because you were lucky, but because you were ready. You'll notice you no longer have to chase things. The right things begin to find you. Excellence attracts excellence. Discipline attracts reward. Consistency attracts influence. And by the time they see you, you won't be looking for applause. You'll be looking for more ways to grow. Success is not owned, it is rented. And the rent is due every day. You've paid that rent when no one was watching. You've paid it in sweat, in rejection, in repetition, in solitude. And now you carry something most people don't. Self-respect. Because when you build yourself in silence, you never have to fear being exposed. There is no mask to drop, no facade to maintain. What you see is real. What you've built is solid. It doesn't shake because it wasn't built on attention. It was built on effort. And now you're no longer moved by trends. You're no longer driven by fear. You've trained your mind to choose creation over comparison, purpose over popularity, discipline over distraction, and in doing so, you've unlocked the rarest kind of freedom. The freedom to move with confidence in any room, because your strength was not borrowed, it was earned. This level of growth demands that you leave behind the need to explain yourself. Let the world assume what it wants. The ones who need to know will know. The ones who don't were never meant to. You don't owe anyone the blueprint when they never stayed for the building phase. Your results are the explanation. Let them talk while you move. Let them speculate while you execute. Let them watch while you rise. And when the fruits of your labor begin to appear, you won't be surprised. You'll be grateful. Grateful you didn't quit when it got lonely. Grateful you stayed the course when everything inside you screamed for comfort. Grateful you believed in the vision when it was nothing more than a whisper in your mind. Because now you've become the kind of person who doesn't just succeed, you inspire. You don't just win, you lead. You don't just build for yourself, you create a standard for others to follow. Your life becomes a signal, not a noise, a lighthouse, not a spotlight, a force, not a brand. And this power, this unshakable, quiet power, was born not from being loud, not from being liked, but from being relentless when it was just you, your goals, and your decision to build. So now the choice is yours. You can wait for permission, or you can start building. You can seek attention, or you can seek alignment. You can chase comfort, or you can chase greatness. But you cannot chase both. One will sharpen you, the other will soften you. One demands your discipline, the other steals your potential. One builds legacy, the other builds regret. The world does not need more noise. It needs people like you, solid, steady, self-led. It needs people who rise without needing to be seen. People who grow without needing to be praised. People who show up day after day, not for applause, but because they made a decision and kept it. The strongest foundations are poured in silence. The most powerful lives are forged away from the spotlight. And the people who change the world the most are often the ones the world never noticed until their work was done. So go build, quietly, relentlessly, with precision, with patience, with purpose. Let every step forward be a declaration, not to the world, but to yourself, that you are not here to impress, you are here to become. And in becoming, you will do what most never will.